Hello, everyone. This is Walter Proper, up until recently, the Executive Director for IAPHL. And I have the pleasure today of interviewing the new Executive Director, Timi Omole, and bringing that to you in our Spotlight series. So hi, Timi. How are you?
Hi, Walter. It's good to meet you again like this and have this interview.
Good. Well, we have a set of questions, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the questions. And I guess for the first one, why don't you tell us your full name? Because I know that's too short for a good Nigerian name.
That's correct. That's correct. So it's just that around my friends and my colleagues, I've been known to be Timi Omole. But officially, I'm actually Omole, which is the surname, Timilehin Michael. So that's
Okay,
my full name.
okay. And where do you currently live?
So I currently live in uh, Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt is the garden city of Nigeria. It is the capital city of Rivers State, one of the southern states of Nigeria.
Okay. And are you from this area?
No, not at all. I hail from one beautiful countryside called Iyagbede. It's nicknamed Modoland, and it's known for its hospitality, and it has the people that are well knitted together.
Oh, excellent. Okay. And
Yes.
so, you're become the new executive director for IPHL. So let's start with what is your experience in health supply chain?
Okay, so my experience, I think, has to date back to my days even as a student. One of the hints I had into supply chain, even though then it wasn't known to me as supply chain, was the fact that health commodities are consumed by patients on implicit trust. So it gives me an impression that uh, the patient consume the medicine because they trust the process. But in practice, when I became a pharmacist and I started practicing, I realized that it wasn't just the patient who consumed the drug on trust, but even the professionals who administer the medicine or prescribe the medicine prescribe it on trust that the system had delivered to them the best quality of drug that can deliver whatever they have intended to achieve in the patient. So that was where I started my interest in supply chain. And I had the pleasure of practicing at the last mile for a couple of years where I saw the difference between happy patients who came to the hospital and they were able to get their commodities and the ones who came to the hospital and couldn't get the commodity. So that piques my interest in understanding how the system works to ensure that these commodities are available at the last mile. And with that interest, I veered into supply chain over with about 10 years now in different functions in supply chain. I've moved from last mile to subnational to regional, and now recently at the national level where I could work together with different stakeholders to fine-tune the policies and the strategy to ensure that we have a holistic, resilient, and sustainable supply chain for health. And here we are. I'm talking to you as the new executive director of IAPHL.
And so you sort of talked about it, but again, what do you like most about working in health supply chain?
Okay, yes, I think when I was in sales, my manager talked to us at the time. He says the same thing that we complain about in sales. By the time we remove it from sales, then the sales will no longer be interesting, and that is pressure.
Mhm.
So in supply chain, I think one of the things that we have complained so much about is the uncertainty. But as the uncertainty in supply chain is one of the most interesting things because it expands your mind. It helps you to push the boundary. And by the time you creatively and innovatively push the boundary to achieve what you want. It gives you some level of satisfaction that you have contributed to the system. And ultimately, seeing that the system that we created also deliver the tablet of paracetamol that needs to be taken at the last mile is one of the most fulfilling things.
That's great. Great. Okay, so then I guess the question then, as the new executive director, how long have you been with IAPHL?
Well, I have to tell a little backdrop to that. You see, when I talked about being a sales person earlier, and then I wanted to pivot into full-fledged supply chain in public health. One of the strengths I think I have is to quickly look out for where I can get the resources I need to translate from where I am to where I need to be. So I started searching the internet. The internet has been my friend for a couple of years now. Searched the internet and I found something like IHPHL, International Association for Public Health Logistician. I said, oh, come on, this is a good thing. This is a good place to learn logistics. And of course, I was very eager to learn then, but I must tell you that the path ahead of me wasn't that clear. So one of the intriguing thing for me is that, okay, these guys here in IHPHL, they had been in the sector for a while, so they know how to move around. So if I can be in the midst of them, I can leverage on their experiences and expertise to enhance my potential of even getting in. And by the time I get in, to be able to establish my presence and my value within the sector within a short time. So in 2011, 2012, I think I came across it, and eventually I think I became a member in 2013.
Okay. All right. And so you kind of told us how you found IPHL, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
And have you been involved with the Nigeria chapter?
Yes, I have been involved with the Nigeria chapter in a couple of member, and because most of the times I'm based in Port Harcourt, outside the capital city, Abuja, most of my participation had been virtual. I've been part of a couple of activities like the boat camp. I'm usually part of the meeting, but virtually. I've not had the opportunity of participating in person. Then I'm also part of a vibrant WhatsApp platform that we have in Nigeria that coordinates and puts together the different members virtually to advance IHPHL.
Okay, great. So now I guess the big question is, why did you seek this position as the executive director for IPHL?
Okay, thank you, Walter, for asking this question again. I think I sought this position for a couple of reasons. One, as a supply chain professional, I have had the opportunity of achieving some level of success, right? But I have discovered that I do not have the all it takes to achieve all I want to achieve, right? So what I have noticed is that supply chain has different functions, which include forecasting, warehousing, governance, and different functions like that. The best you could be is to be good or the best at one or two, but you cannot be the best in all of them, and you cannot be in all the places at the same time. But being the executive director gives me the advantage of gravitating around me, the different experts in the different functions. And of course, holding the position will help me to plug together these different functions to achieve a synergistic outcome that is way more than what I can achieve alone or any other individual can achieve alone. So synergy is the reason why I joined as the executive director.
Okay. So you've been the new executive director officially for about 2 weeks. So
That's right.
what are your first impressions of as the executive director?
Okay. I think you know this that one of my first impression is that I have a lot to learn. Yes, as the executive
Yeah.
director. But one of the things I have seen, being here now at this level to be able to see from where I'm seeing, is that there's a whole lot of intellectual capacity, intellectual capital in IHPHL. When you look at IHPHL as an association that cuts across 100 and almost 150 countries, with members turning up to 8,000. That is massive, massive intellectual capital. So I see it as a bucket of intellectual capital that needs to be unleashed. So that has been my impression. And for up to now, I figure that whatever we have achieved or whatever we have converted as value in IHPHL, we have much more potentials that we can translate into value for both the community of practice and of course the sector in which we serve.
Which kind of fits the last question, sort of, which everyone wants, and you've answered some of it, is what do you see as the future for IPHL as you take over as executive director?
Okay, the future of IHPHL is bright. The future of IHPHL is great. I will begin by drawing from your last newsletter, where you talked about the future of IHPHL being the chapters. I also share the same or similar sentiment around the fact that IHPHL in future will become very much coordinated at the center through the secretariat, but a little bit more decentralized such that we can meet specific needs across different countries. So with my coming on board as the executive director, one of the key things on my mind is what I term scale. I want to see IHPHL transform, convert the potentials that we have, the capacity that we have into real value for the members, real value for the stakeholders. Stakeholders may range from the donors, the partners that we have, the different institutions that we collaborate with, and even the patients or the people that benefit from our service. So I see us converting a lot of values to scale. And I see IHPHL becoming a resource warehouse, a place where anyone can come into supply chain of public health commodities as a novice. And by just mere interaction within IHPHL within a couple of weeks, the person can significantly contribute within the sector as a professional in supply chain. I see IHPHL setting the standards for how a supply chain professional should behave, should act, what level of value a supply chain professional should bring on board wherever they serve within the public sector. So I see IHPHL now becoming so agile that if you need a resource, if you need a product, if you need whatever you need to make your work better wherever you work, regardless of how remote the place you work, you can access IHPHL, and someone from whichever place the person may be can attend to your needs. This is the future that I see for IHPHL. I see IHPHL as becoming self-sustaining and robust.
So a bright future with a lot of work to do going forward. So we're going to keep this short. So again, I wish you all the best as you take the helm and go forward with IPHL. I think it's in good hands and a lot to do. And for the members, I think a lot to to help you with make this happen and the chapters. So Timi, thank you for your time today, and I'll have a good one.
Thank you very much, Walter. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.